All right, let's dive into a topic that touches many of us, either directly or through someone we love. Have you ever stopped to think about those little changes? The ones we often brush off as just getting older? Maybe it's forgetting a name more often, or perhaps feeling a bit unsteady on your feet. We tell ourselves it's normal, right? But what if some of these subtle shifts are actually your brain trying to send you an important message, a quiet warning that something more significant might be unfolding? Before we go any further, I'm curious, what's one small step you've taken this week, or plan to take, to support your brain's health? Drop a comment below. I truly do read them, and it's wonderful to share ideas and encourage each other. Because here's the thing, dementia isn't some distant abstract concept. It's a reality for millions, and it often doesn't announce itself with a shout. Instead, it begins with whispers, tiny signs that, if we're paying attention, can give us a crucial head start. Now, I want to be clear. Growing older naturally brings changes, and not every forgotten key or moment of clumsiness is a red flag for dementia. Our bodies and minds do evolve. But what if some of these changes, these seemingly minor inconveniences, are actually early indicators that your brain needs a little extra support? The truth is, identifying these signs early isn't about inviting worry. It's about empowering ourselves. It's about taking control and understanding that there are often things we can do to protect our cognitive vitality, our independence, and the richness of our lives for years to come. Today, we're going to explore some of these early whispers, not to cause alarm, but to arm you with knowledge. And more importantly, we'll talk about what you can do starting right now. It's fascinating, isn't it, how interconnected our bodies and minds truly are. You might think that dementia is purely a disease of memory or thought. But what if I told you that some of the earliest signs could show up in how you move or even how you perceive the world around you? Changes in gait and balance. Have you or someone you know started walking with smaller, perhaps more shuffling steps? Maybe there's a new hesitancy or a slight lean you didn't have before. It's easy to attribute this to stiff joints or simply wear and tear, but sometimes these changes in your gait, your posture, or your balance can originate in the brain, particularly in areas that control motor function and coordination. Think about it. Your brain is the command center for every step you take. If those signals are even slightly disrupted, it can manifest physically. Research has indeed suggested that subtle changes in walking speed and stability can, in some cases, predate more obvious cognitive symptoms by several years. It's not about panicking over every stumble, but rather noticing a persistent pattern of change. My perspective here is that we often separate physical aging from cognitive aging, but they are two sides of the same coin. If you're noticing these shifts, beyond just a bad day, it might be worth discussing with your doctor, not just for your physical safety to prevent falls, but also as part of a broader health picture. What can you do? Simple balance exercises, like standing on one foot while holding onto a chair, or Tai Chi, can be incredibly beneficial for both your physical stability and, potentially, your brain health by improving proprioception, your sense of where your body is in space, shifts in spatial awareness and sensory input. Now let's consider something else. Ever misjudge pouring a drink, bump into door frames more often, or feel a sudden unease on a familiar staircase? These little incidents, if they become more frequent, might not just be clumsiness. They could indicate changes in how your brain is processing depth, distance, and spatial relationships. Dementia, in its early stages, can subtly affect these perceptual abilities. And it's not just sight. Did you know that a declining sense of smell, known as olfactory loss, has been identified in some studies as one of the very early neurological changes in conditions like Alzheimer's, sometimes even before significant memory issues surface? Imagine that. Your nose might know something before your mind fully registers it. Similarly, if you find yourself increasingly overwhelmed in noisy environments, struggling to filter out background conversations, it might not solely be your hearing. While hearing loss itself is a risk factor for cognitive decline, the processing of sound can also be affected by early brain changes. What's my take on this? Our senses are our windows to the world. When these windows get a bit foggy, it impacts our confidence and our ability to navigate daily life. So, if you notice these persistent sensory shifts, don't just ignore them. Get your hearing and vision checked regularly, of course, but also consider activities that engage your senses in a mindful way. Cooking with aromatic spices, mindfully listening to music, or even just paying more attention to the textures and smells around you can be simple ways to keep those neural pathways active. The telltale grip. Here's one that might surprise you. When did you last find opening a jar a real struggle, or notice your handshake isn't as firm as it used to be? We often associate muscle weakness with general aging, but a decline in grip strength has been gaining attention in research as a potential indicator of cognitive health. Why? Because your muscular system and your nervous system are intrinsically linked. A weakening grip might reflect broader changes in your overall vitality, which includes brain health. Large-scale studies have found correlations between weaker grip strength in older adults and a higher risk of cognitive decline. My opinion is that this isn't about becoming a weightlifter overnight. It's about recognizing that maintaining overall physical strength and activity is profoundly beneficial for your brain. Think of it as building a reserve. Simple exercises, even using stress balls or carrying your groceries, can contribute. The key is consistent, moderate activity that keeps your body engaged. If you're noticing a significant decline in strength, it's another good reason for a general health checkup. Beyond the physical, dementia can cast subtle shadows over one's inner world. How we feel, how we sleep, and how we engage with life. These can be some of the most challenging signs to pinpoint, as they can easily be mistaken for other conditions or just a phase. The quiet fading of interest. Apathy. Did you or a loved one used to adore gardening, social gatherings, or hobbies, but now those activities are met with a shrug? This isn't necessarily sadness or depression, though it can look similar. It might be apathy, a kind of emotional numbness or lack of motivation that can be an early sign of dementia, particularly Alzheimer's. The brain's motivation circuits can be affected, leading to a withdrawal from previously enjoyed activities. It's a quiet pulling away, a seeming lack of interest in life's pursuits. From my perspective, this is a particularly heartbreaking sign because it can lead to increased isolation, which we know can accelerate cognitive decline. If you observe this, either in yourself or someone else, it's important to approach it with compassion and understanding. Try to gently encourage engagement in simple, enjoyable activities without pressure. Sometimes just sitting with someone, sharing a quiet moment, can be more helpful than trying to force them back into old routines. And of course, discussing this with a healthcare professional is key to rule out or address depression, which can also cause similar symptoms. When sleep becomes a struggle, tossing and turning all night, waking up frequently, or perhaps even acting out dreams with kicking or shouting. We all have bad nights, but persistent, significant sleep disturbances, especially things like REM sleep behavior disorder, have been linked in research to a higher risk of developing certain types of dementia. Your brain does its crucial cleanup work during deep sleep, clearing out toxins like beta amyloid. If that process is consistently disrupted, it can take a toll. Even finding yourself needing frequent long naps during the day or being wide awake at 3 a.m. regularly could indicate that your internal body clock, your circadian rhythm, is off-kilter, which can also be associated with cognitive changes. My view? Sleep is not a luxury. It's a fundamental pillar of brain health. If your sleep patterns have drastically changed and it's affecting your daytime functioning, don't just chalk it up to age. Explore good sleep hygiene practices, a consistent bedtime, a dark and quiet room, avoiding caffeine, and heavy meals late in the day. And if problems persist, talk to your doctor. There might be underlying issues that can be addressed. This is often what people associate most directly with dementia: changes in memory, language, and thinking. And yes, these are significant, but it's the pattern and persistence that matter. The frustration of finding words. Are you or someone you care about increasingly struggling to find the right word in conversations? You know what you want to say, it's on the tip of your tongue, but it just won't come out. Or maybe you substitute an incorrect word, like calling a watch a hand clock. Occasional word-finding difficulty is normal for many as they age, but if it becomes frequent, causes frustration, or significantly hampers communication, it could be a sign of aphasia, which can be an early feature of some dementias. It might manifest as long pauses, repeating phrases, or struggling to follow a fast-paced conversation. My thoughts on this are that communication is so vital to our connection with others. When it becomes a struggle, it can lead to withdrawal and misunderstanding. If you notice these changes, be patient, provide gentle support, and don't finish sentences unless asked. Creating a calm, unhurried environment for conversation can help. And again, persistent language difficulties warrant a medical consultation. Memory lapses that go beyond senior moments. We all forget where we put our keys sometimes. But dementia-related memory loss is different. It's not just forgetting a detail occasionally, it's forgetting recent events or conversations entirely, even important ones. It might be repeating the same story multiple times within a short period without realizing it, or frequently missing appointments despite reminders. The key difference, as often cited by experts like the Alzheimer's Association, is that with normal age-related memory changes, you might forget a name, but remember it later. With dementia, you might forget the experience or the person altogether, and the information doesn't come back. Crucially, it's when memory loss starts to consistently interfere with daily life, managing finances, medications, or personal safety, that it becomes a more serious concern. My opinion is that this is often the most feared sign, but it's important not to jump to conclusions. Stress, lack of sleep, and certain medications can also affect memory. However, if you're seeing a persistent pattern of memory loss that's impacting daily function, it's absolutely essential to seek a professional evaluation. Early diagnosis can open doors to support, resources, and potential interventions. Feeling lost in time or place. Have you ever momentarily felt confused about the day of the week or even the season? For most, this passes quickly, but if disorientation regarding time or becomes a recurring issue, it's a significant red flag. This isn't just about being a bit turned around. It's a more profound confusion that can be very distressing. The brain's internal GPS seems to be faltering. My perspective? This can be incredibly frightening for the individual experiencing it. Safety becomes a major concern. If this is happening, it's crucial to ensure the person's environment is safe and to consider strategies like medical ID bracelets. This sign strongly indicates the need for a thorough medical assessment. The echo of repetitive questions. What time are we leaving? You answer. 2 minutes later, what time are we leaving? This kind of repetitive questioning, where the answer just doesn't seem to stick, can be an early indicator of dementia. It's not that the person is trying to be difficult. Their brain is struggling to encode new information, so each time they ask, the question feels new to them. It can be exhausting for caregivers, but understanding the underlying cause can foster patience. I believe that in these situations, gentle redirection or writing down answers can sometimes help. But fundamentally, it's a signal that the brain's short-term memory processing is compromised, and it's another strong reason to consult with a healthcare professional. Now, hearing all of this might feel overwhelming, and that's understandable, but I want to shift the focus firmly towards hope and empowerment. While there's currently no cure for most types of dementia, this is far from a hopeless situation. Recognizing these signs early is your most powerful tool, because it allows for proactive steps that can genuinely make a difference in slowing progression and maintaining quality of life. Think about this. Your brain is an organ, and just like your heart or lungs, it thrives on healthy habits. Move your body. Regular physical activity, even just 30 minutes of brisk walking most days, improves blood flow to the brain, reduces inflammation, and can support the growth of new brain cells. It's not about intense training, it's about consistent movement. Eat and feed your brain. What you eat profoundly impacts your brain. Diets like the Mediterranean or Mind diet, rich in leafy greens, berries, nuts, fish, and healthy fats, have been strongly linked to better cognitive outcomes and a reduced risk of decline. Think of food as fuel for your thoughts. Prioritize sleep. We've touched on this, but it bears repeating. Deep, restorative sleep is when your brain cleans house. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep per night. Challenge your mind. Keep learning. Engage in activities that make you think. Puzzles, learning a new skill or language, playing a musical instrument, reading widely. This helps build cognitive reserve, creating new neural pathways. Stay socially connected. Isolation is a significant risk factor. Meaningful social engagement keeps your brain active and resilient. Join clubs, volunteer, connect with friends and family regularly. Manage chronic conditions. High blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, obesity, and even unmanaged hearing loss can all increase your risk of cognitive decline. Working with your doctor to manage these conditions effectively is crucial for your brain health too. My personal conviction here is that these lifestyle factors are not just nice-to-haves. They are fundamental pillars of brain protection, and the wonderful thing is, they are largely within our control, starting today. It's about making small, sustainable changes that add up over time. The evolving landscape of treatment. And let's not forget, science is continually advancing. While it's true that for many years the options were limited, the landscape is changing. New medications are emerging that for some types of dementia like Alzheimer's are showing promise in slowing progression, particularly when started early. Researchers are also exploring innovative approaches like gene therapy and immune-based treatments. This isn't to offer false hope, but to acknowledge that the field is dynamic. An early and accurate diagnosis is key to accessing any available treatments or clinical trials. What to do if you're concerned? If any of these signs resonate with you, for yourself, or a loved one, please don't ignore them or simply attribute them to old age. 1. Talk to a doctor. Schedule an appointment with a primary care physician or a neurologist. They can conduct assessments, rule out other potential causes for the symptoms, and refer you to specialists if needed. 2. Gather information. Before the appointment, make notes of the specific symptoms, when they started, and how frequently they occur. This will help the doctor get a clearer picture. 3. Seek support. Whether you're the one experiencing changes or you're a caregiver, support is vital. Organizations like the Alzheimer's Association offer incredible resources, support groups, and information. The journey of aging comes with its share of changes, but not all changes should be accepted without question. By understanding these potential early whispers of dementia, you're not inviting fear, you're embracing awareness. And awareness is the first step toward proactive care, toward protecting your precious cognitive health, and toward living your fullest life. So, what stood out to you most from our discussion today? Is there one piece of information or advice that you plan to take forward? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights and experiences enrich our community. And if you found this video valuable, do give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might benefit, and make sure you're subscribed for more empowering health content. Thank you for watching, and here's to our collective journey toward healthier, more vibrant lives at every age. Remember, the best time to start protecting your brain was yesterday, but the second best time is right now.